How's it, guys? It's Linton here from Greenbox Markets. I just wanted to run through a couple of the setups for currency pairs, major currency pairs, US dollar pairs before this evening's FOMC with Janet Yellen. We're going to start off with the euro dollar quickly and just have a look at what is currently transpiring with this pair in terms of what we could possibly see dependent on which way FOMC goes. Now, just before we dive into it, I just want to run through this quickly. The market is expecting a 25 basis point interest rate increase from the States, and most of that has been priced into the market already. So chances are likely that if it is only a 25 basis point increase in the market, there may be a small rally in the dollar, but I honestly believe that with 25 basis points, we should see a little rally in the dollar, and we should then expect the dollar to sell off again thereafter, as there's not much to assist the dollar in maintaining strength at this point in time. We had really bad job claims from the States this week, so over the last couple of weeks actually. So disappointing data, although they believe the economy is growing and they can show figures to prove that. Your NFP numbers haven't been really good, and I expect that to come through in this evening's meeting as well. So a lot will depend on what Janet Yellen has to say regarding the economy and regarding whether there's going to be another interest rate hike later this year. If the Fed pulls that off the table, chances are very likely that the dollar will see a lot of weakness this evening. So let's get to the charts and have a look quickly. Euro US dollar on the weekly time frame, we can see over here that we've had this structure formation remember, we're looking at the weekly time frame here, so we've got 1, 2 waves so far. So I am expecting the third wave to complete to the top here at some point on the weekly time frame, and at that point then we'll need to see whether it's going to break for higher or whether it's going to complete this corrective structure and then break lower, as this is the impulse here on the left hand side that I'm watching, and I believe when this structure breaks to the bottom that we'll see a very big move to the downside again. But that's going to take a lot of time and definitely won't be affected by tonight's FOMC meeting. Let's just have a look at a smaller time frame and see what's going on there. So on the daily, we remember this structure over here that formed 1, 2, 3, 4 waves. And it actually broke on the 5th, so that's quite textbook stuff there. And then what I want to draw your attention to is on the smaller time frame here where we're currently trading. Today we had obviously a spike. It was some more bad US data that was released, and we had a spike up. Let's have a look at the 4-hour time frame. I just want to show you what I'm looking at. So this is also like a flag formation that we're looking at over here. And we can see again 1, 2, 3 waves completed. So this is quite textbook as well. What this means is that we could see a break of this structure to the upside. And if we see a break of this structure to the upside, chances are likely that we will see the euro move all the way up to where that target was on the weekly time frame that I gave you. So we could see it move all of this distance tonight quite comfortably. That's only another 150 odd pips to go. So if we do see USD weakness this evening, chances are very likely we're going to get to this point, and I would be looking for shorts over there. I would be waiting to see what the setup is over there, whether it breaks in order to get long, or alternatively see a flag set up and trade it to the downside again. So watching the 4-hour and obviously the 1-hour time frames here is quite important. I want to see what happens with this flag formation at the top here, whether it breaks on the 1-hour time frame or whether the price reverses back down to the bottom to make a decision as to which direction this is going to go. Again, like I said, if we see USD strength here, so in other words, if the euro pulls back down to sort of these levels here, 1.10 kind of level, I would be looking to get back into the euros for a long position somewhere around there. Moving on to the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar US on the weekly time frame, here we can quite clearly see a structure formation as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 waves. The 5th wave to the bottom hasn't completed, and I'm kind of still expecting to see that. But I do think that FOMC tonight is going to be the deciding factor there as to whether this price actually does come down or whether it breaks out tonight, forms a flag over there, and continues up. In that case, yes, we only want to be in the longs. So watching the top of this weekly structure quite carefully. Let's have a look at that on a smaller time frame. I'm going to go down to the daily. Okay, so here on this structure we can see those waves that I mentioned, and I am expecting to see the price complete the fifth wave to the bottom before we get a break to the upside. That, however, is not set in stone, so we need to watch the price action quite carefully and see whether that is the case. You know, if tonight we do get a rally and the Aussie dollar does pip the top here or tag the top and then pulls off again, I will look for the price to do something like this and then sell that. So I would need to see a flag formation, and a break of that flag will give me an indication that I can sell this pair again. Alternatively, what we're going to see is, like I said, the price break out of this structure over here, form a flag that way, and break to the upside. Then clearly we want to be in the longs. So tonight's FOMC again, I'm expecting you know, the US dollar to, I would imagine, to show strength first and then obviously weakness again, which will tag the top here, and from that point we'll need to see which way the flag forms in order to get long or short on this currency pair. Let's move on to pound USD. Okay, so on the pound USD we've got also on the weekly time frame quite a big structure that has formed in a 1, 2, 3 wave format at this point in time. So I am expecting the completion of this back to the top of that structure over there. As you can see, it is quite a gradual climb actually, so I don't expect it to be any fireworks in terms of this structure on this time frame. But when we go down to smaller time frames, there will definitely be big moves in the market this evening. Let's have a look at the daily time frame here quickly. And there we can see a smaller structure within this bigger weekly structure, which also formed 1, 2, 3 waves, and then it broke on the fourth to the upside. I'm going to the 4-hour time frame now. So we've had one flag here that broke to the downside. We had another one that formed, which also broke to the downside. And we're currently in another flag here at this point in time. 1, 2, 3 wave completion. So it could break here, dependent on the news tonight, and we could see another formation with it going up. Although it would probably be a much more violent move than that. When it breaks, it would probably go a lot further first and then come back and form some kind of flag before it goes up. Alternatively, if we see USD strength, we will see it push right through the bottom of this flag over here and then probably pull back, form a flag and go again. Then you'll want to be in the shorts. So definitely going to watch this one as well, as there'll be big movements with FOMC tonight. USD CAD weekly time frame. Now we've been watching this one for a while. You'll recall this structure that we sent out being the impulse, this being the corrective structure over here, and we're expecting it to break for another impulse to the downside. And as you can see over there, it is currently breaking. Let's go down to a smaller time frame there and just have a look, show you what we mean. So here's the daily time frame, and this being the corrective structure that we've been watching on a dollar CAD, USD CAD, and it is currently breaking to the downside. So we need to give it some time, obviously, to form a structure outside of this weekly time frame structure in order to see whether it is going to break to the downside. Let's have a look at the 4-hour. A lot of you will recall that we got into our first short over here on the dollar CAD. We saw that break to the downside, and this flag gave me an entry for a short. And we did short again on the break of that flag. I have taken profit at this level, and the reason for that is because of FOMC. So I'm waiting to see what's going to transpire with FOMC before getting back into this pair again. But ideally, what we would like to see, if the price does move against the dollar, I would like to see, obviously we'll see quite a big spike to the downside here, and then we will see the price retrace somewhat and possibly form a flag. Once that flag has been formed and breaks to the downside, that is when I want to get into the short. So I'm not going to be trading the FOMC news release. I'll wait for structures to form after that. But FOMC is definitely going to give us some kind of direction. As you can see, what's quite interesting is that a lot of these pairs are poised at points in terms of their structures where they could go either way. So very, very important meeting this evening in terms of structure, either finishing or completing the next wave. Obviously, the last one we want to have a look at is, we've got two more. The dollar yen we also want to look at. So the dollar yen is quite a nice setup here in terms of an impulse. We're seeing this corrective structure and we're waiting for the impulse to break to the upside again. If we look at a smaller time frame, we can see that another flag has formed on the smaller time frame. Another structure. Let me just draw it in for you quickly. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and nearly 5 to the bottom. So I kind of expect it to tag this bottom here. And dependent on whether USD weakness or strength, we'll see from there where it's going to go, dependent on the FOMC. But yes, the bigger structure does indicate that we should see upside again at some point. So we'll be waiting for the break of this structure to the upside before getting into a long. Should it break to the downside, exactly the same as all the other pairs, what we would wait for is a flag formation to the downside. So we'll wait for the price to break through here, form a flag, and then go. Once that occurs, we'll get into the short over there and we'll trade that down. But the bigger picture is still telling me upside, so I'm pretty keen to get those trades. Any short trades that I take, I'll definitely move my stops along quite closely. And then the last pair we want to have a look at is the New Zealand dollar US dollar pair. Again, another one that's sitting at the top of its structure at the moment. So again, pointing to how important tonight's FOMC meeting is. If we look at the formations here, we've had 1, 2, 3 waves completed so far, and this being the fourth. Quite often we see breaks on the fourth, and that is what we're currently seeing at the moment. So there we can see on the daily time frame, the New Zealand dollar is breaking out of this structure at the moment. Quite possible that it'll do that, and if it does that, I'll wait for flag to form and get into the long once that flag breaks. That would be my entry. Should that not take place, and the price pulls back within the structure again, I will see this as a 1, 2, 3, 4 wave structure, expecting the fifth wave to complete to the downside before we see more upside from there. Or alternatively, a break to the downside. Again, if the price does do that, what I would expect to see is for it to pull back, form some kind of a flag, and then go. On the formation of that flag, that is where my entry will be for the short. Same thing to the upside. On the formation of that flag, that is where my entry would be for the long. I hope that helped you with the FOMC tonight. So a lot riding on this evening's FOMC meeting, dependent on what the Fed has to say and whether they see the economy as being positive or not. And a lot of structures on the bigger time frames are sitting at levels where they really could go either way. So a lot of weight is going to be placed on what happens tonight. If we see a basis point increase in the interest rate of more than 25 basis points, we should see a very, very strong dollar. Like I said, if we see an increase of 25 basis points, that's not really going to mean much, and it will really come down to what Janet Yellen has to say regarding the economy, the outlook, and also whether there will still be another interest rate hike this year. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you found this video useful, guys, give it a thumbs up and be sure to share it with your friends before FOMC tonight. And then also feel free to leave comments in the comment section below and ask questions regarding any of our analysis or services that we offer. Have a great evening and trade with care. Cheers.